Book Devotion, Pat Smith, Chapter 4. Fate has a hand, but is not the hand. I was looking for something and found something else. The trailer of a film, moved by a sonorous, tough alien voice, words powered. I went on a journey, lured by a jukebox of lights conjuring a symphony of reference points. I treaded a world that was not even my own. Wandering the abstract streets of Patrick Modiano, I read a book introduced to the mystic activism of Simone Weil. I watched a figure skater wholly beguiled. I began to write the piece entitled Devotion on the train from Paris to Sète. Initially, I thought to compose a heightened discourse between disparate voices, a sophisticated rational man and a precocious, intuitive young girl. I was interested to see where they would lead each other, forming an alliance in a realm of opulence and obscurity. I had also kept a loosely formed travel diary, bits of poems, notes, and observations for no particular reason save to write. Looking back on these fragments, I was struck with the thought that if devotion was a crime, I had inadvertently produced evidence, annotating as I went along. Most often the alchemy that produces a poem or a work of fiction is written within the work itself, if not embedded in the coiling reeds of the mind. But in this case, I could track a plethora of antecedents, a forest of sirs or furs, Simone Weil's haircut, white bootlaces, a pouch of screws, Camus' existential gun. I can examine how, but not why, I wrote what I did, or why I had so perversely deviated from my original path. Can one, tracking and successfully collaring a criminal, truly comprehend the criminal mind? Can we truly separate the how and the why? A few moments of self-interrogation forced me to acknowledge the strange remorse I felt following the writing of it. I wondered, since I had birthed my characters, if I was really, actually mourning them. I also considered it was a quality of age, because when I was young, I wrote with reckless abandon of any subject without a shred of moral concern. I let devotion stand as written. You wrote it, I told myself. You can't wash your hands of it like Pilatus. I reasoned these concerns, philosophical or even psychological. Perhaps devotion is merely itself, unfettered by worldview, or perhaps a metaphor drawn from the untraceable air. That is my final conclusion, one that's absolutely meaningless. Back in the New York City, I found it difficult to chemically readjust. More than that, I suffered bouts of nostalgia, a yearning to be where I had been, having morning coffee at Café de Flore, afternoons in the Gallimard Garden, bursts of productivity on the moving train. I was on Paris time, dropping off to sleep in the late afternoon, waking suddenly in the long still night. On one such night I watched the secret garden, a crippled boy made to walk again through the fervent will of a lively young girl. There was a time when I imagined I would write such stories, like Sarah Crewe or The Little Lame Prince, orphaned children negotiating a darkness eclipsed in brightness. Not the type of story I found myself writing breathlessly on a Paris train without remorse. Silence, passing cars, the rumble of a subway, birds calling for dawn. I want to go home, I whimpered, but I already was. Then here is a poem called Ashford in Kent. Deep in the earth, your little bones, It's in a cemetery. It's in a grave. Okay, it's in the grave for Simone Biles that lived from February 3rd, 1909 to August 24th, 1943. Deep in the earth your little bones, your little hands, your little feet, in restless repose and fastening loops, calling for bread and potato soup. A shock of light struck the valve, milk of lamb poured from the side, and a terrible mist rose underfoot. You were all snow white, and I the seventh dwarf, prepared to serve you. There were waffles enough for every little living thing who offered his tongue. There were no more cries. There was no fasting heart, only the relics of consumption wrapped in the silk of existence. Next reading, then, is the starting point for the book devotion. Bye bye.